It's showtime at Homestead, Miami.
Andre Baranowskis at the line, steals it in the Indy 250.
Gordon, the Baxter's in trouble, there they go. Gordon's in the wall, jumps right around.
Side by side on the final lap, coming to the checkered flag.
Steve Morgan, the last lap pass, and the victory in Las Vegas.
Welcome to the NOFSRL.
Hello everybody, this is Napa Fan here, and this is race number 11 in season number 5 of the NOFSRL Turkey Hill Series. We are here at the Monster Mile in Dover, Delaware, the first state, and that's all it's known for, that and the fact that there's a pretty good racetrack there. I say that because this is my home racetrack, the Dover International Speedway, which is why we come here. And this is why this is the only series, along with the Chick-fil-A Cup Series, that comes here in the NOFSRL, because no one else likes to use it. But hey, we're here, that's what counts. We're here for the Wawa 240 laps of action here in the Turkey Hill Series. I will be doing the main call today, but I do have co-commentators along with me, Daniel McMillan and Josh Williamson. And Daniel, you've raced here many times before in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series, and it is a difficult place to make a pass. How do you do so here at the Monster Mile?
I mean, Napa, all you got to do is hold your line on the bottom. The bottom is real good here. If you get stuck on that high side, you're not going to do as well. You're going to fall back. So, mostly the inside. That's where you want to be.
We'll have to see how that inside lane works throughout the day. It's going to be interesting to see how this race plays out because the grip is turned down a little bit than it was the past couple of times we've been here, especially in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series, so the guys might slip up the racetrack a little bit more than they usually do, and they're also going to go just a little bit slower, so the racing is going to be very, very intricate. You got to make sure you hit your marks correctly, because if you don't, could definitely have a problem as the race goes along. This is how they line up in the championship standings after that wild race we had at Talladega. Josh King still leads in the championship standings, 303 points towards the championship. Talladega winner Jacob Hammond, 17 points behind. Parker Smith is 29 points behind. Daniel Voiles is 49 points behind. And Zachary DeLello, 55 points behind, coming into the Wawa 200 from Dover. Go ahead, get these guys to roll off. It's Trey Smith, the Daytona winner, starting on the front row. And alongside him, it's the number 82 of Christian Vargas. In row number 2, Dylan Young in the 48 and Owen Miles in the 52. Yes, Hair Jill, I know Popeyes is still on the car, but Popeyes is going to stay on the car. You can't change your scheme midway through the season. I'm sorry. John Andrews in the 32 to the inside of Chloe Reiner. Logan Williams to the inside of Ryan Benjamin. And Dale Salzman to the inside of Mitchell Collins. Now, the last time the Turkey Hill Series came here, the driver who won the race started in the 21st position. And if I can do the math correctly, that's right around where Clark McKee is. So we'll have to see what he can do in this race. But either way, guys, everything's going to be in victory lane here today at the Dover International Speedway. Only 40 laps, not much time to get to the front.
Well, as long as you stay out of trouble, you should be alright.
As long as you stay on the low line and you stay up towards the front of the pack, of course, you're probably going to start up to the front of the pack if you want to have the best chance to win. Going to be a little hard to work up through the field with only 40 laps. I'm excited to see where this race goes, but I expect the winner to come from starting mid-pack and on the bottom lane.
We'll have to see how it all goes down. Pace cars pulled in. Let's go racing at the Monster Mile, the fastest mile around. We're green flag racing in the Wawa 200.
G6 gets a jump from the start, going into turn 1 and 2.
Nice jump by the 66 to get out to the lead. He is being hounded by the 46 Noah Clifton there in the second position.
48 of Dylan Young, right behind him there in the second position.
Young.
And how about Owen Miles up to third? Now, he's
Miles.
had a really tough season so far for Hair Gel Motorsports. He's last in the points right now, but he's got a good run here in qualifying, hoping to get one of the best finishes he's gotten all season. John Ears there in fourth. Logan Williams rounding out the top 5 as take a look at the rest of the field right here. We got a little bit of 3-wide action going on here. Josh Williamson in the middle of Hunter Blade and Nick Smith, but they keep it together for now.
Boy, that could have been trouble there if that outside had not backed out, but man, they avoided it there. Back up to the Further ahead there, you see the 21 falling back on the outside. Crazy battle going on there. And you see 52 with that unpaid sponsorship still in the third position right now behind the 48. But single file right now, waiting for the first move going down the back straightaway.
Have to see how Miles does here. That inside lane is a really tough place to work. But as long as you can stay there, get a run on somebody, you can get a run on them and have a shot at getting by them, and that's what Owen Miles is going to do. Got that inside lane to work right there, and he's going to take second away. I saw Christian Vargas fall way back at the start. He started on the outside pole, and just as Daniel said, that outside lane does not work here at Dover.
A lot of single file here to start. A couple double wide back in the pack. We'll have to see.
Hey, but Popeyes, you sure you wanted to cancel your sponsorship of that 52? Look where he's running right now. Great run so far for Owen Miles to start this race.
A great run for Trey Smith as well. However, we forgot to mention at the top of the show, we will have a cycle of pit stops in this race, so that's something these guys definitely have to be thinking about. It's a difficult pit lane to get in, and you got to have the right strategy because tire wear is going to come into play here at Dover. The tires get eaten up quite a bit here, and later on into the run, you're going to be going much slower than a lot of these guys. So if you come in, get those fresh tires early on, you're going to have an advantage on the rest of the field and maybe gain a few seconds on the field. Owen Miles, though, once he cleared Dylan Young, seems like he might be closing in a little bit on our leader, Trey Smith, who has led every lap so far in this race. But that 52 is slowly working his way to the back bumper of the 62. Oh, and in the wall.
Straight away here.
Logan Williams overshot turn 2, and he's going to lose 3 positions right there from John Andrews, Dale Salzman, and Parker Smith.
Smith gets by on the inside into that, I believe that's the 6th position indeed. And Williams, continuing to fall back in that 37. He's being hounded by more cars behind. Coca-Cola entry, that is
41 of Josh King, our points leader. Another strong run here in the Turkey Hill Series. Looking to extend that points lead. Jacob Hammond starting deep in the field for this race. And you see him all the way in the back. He's going to lose a lot of ground to his teammate Josh King in the points. Meanwhile, Owen Miles continues to close in slightly on Trey Smith. John Andrews went high a little bit there. And Dale Salzman is closing in here on the 48 of Dylan Young.
Way high off the turn. Oh, sorry.
Now, consistency is key in this series. You want to stay up front every race, try to contend for that championship at the end of the season.
Dale Salzman's working a middle groove there in the 12 car. Trying to. He's not doing a very good job. Here comes the 44, Parker Smith, closing in, being hounded currently by the 32, John Andrews. They're going to develop a little 3-car pack there going down the front stretch into turn 1.
Josh King's going to lose the position here to Clark McKee in the 28. McKee's going to go up to 8th as King falls back to 9th. And he really got loose off the corner there. Landon Smith Jr. might have a run on him here in the next few laps. But Trey Smith, he has the advantage of having no one around him at all. And because of that, he's able to really run a clean line around the racetrack. We'll have to see, though, once the cycle of pit stops begin. That'll probably be around lap 25, I'd imagine. I think that's how I have it set. I'm not entirely sure. We're just going to have to see as the race goes along. But that'll definitely play into who gets the race victory because pit strategy and tire strategy, especially tire strategy, will come into play on who wins this race. So you can't just give it to Trey Smith right yet. Owen Miles actually got a really good run there on that lap. And Miles, he might have a shot at possibly taking the lead away from Trey Smith here in the next few laps.
0.11 seconds gained that lap. Yes, indeed. He is closing in on the 66 car.
See an interesting battle for the win here. This thing stays green and the pit stops go well.
These guys have raced a very clean race so far. Had a couple drivers hit the outside wall, but no wrecks yet in the race. Everyone's still on the lead lap. We go through the field. Vargas, our outside pole sitter, continues to fall back. Gonna fall back to the 13th position, but I'm gonna lose another position to Jonathan Logan and Nick Smith there. And he's gonna fall all the way back to the 16th position. The 15th position. That's where the 10 of Nick Smith is. But he started on the outside pole and has continued to drop like a rock here at Dover. Not exactly getting the best of runs there in the number 82 machine. Meanwhile, we got John Anders moving back on the inside of Parker Smith. And how about Clark McKee? He got around Logan Williams, and he's going to get another position on Parker Smith most likely, as Smith gets stuck on the outside lane.
Couple more cars behind here. They're probably going to pass Parker Smith up on the inside.
They all bunched up right there, and Smith a little wide there off the corner. He might actually clear Logan Williams here, and he will, but not without losing 2 positions on the racetrack. Andrews moves back up to 5th. Then it's Salzman and Dylan Young, and then the top 2 have pulled away. Owen Miles, who is in fact closing in on Trey Smith for the race lead. They got 3 seconds on the rest of the field right now. And Dover is quite the opposite of what we saw last week at Talladega. I think it's pretty obvious at this point that that's the case, and these guys really spread out here at the Dover International Speedway. And it might be a race between Owen Miles and Trey Smith for this race victory, but Owen Miles looking really strong here for Hairgel Motorsports, and they're looking to get their 3rd win as a team this season. Daniel Voiles, who's 4th in the points, has already won twice this season for the team. Owen Miles would love to get a race victory for those guys, especially with the sponsorship a little shaky. Now, like I mentioned, don't really want to change the scheme midway through the season, but I think I'm a little happy that I kept the Popeyes on this car because it's running pretty well and getting some airtime. Next time by, I'll be halfway through the Wawa 200 at Dover, and that gap is continuing to close in between Owen Miles and Trey Smith for the race lead.
We're going to be having pit stops in a few laps here. We're going to see if Owen Miles can gain some time on this pit lane.
Meanwhile, behind Dylan Young, the 48 is leading a line there with about 4 cars. That's Dale Salzman in the 12, the 32, John Andrews, and Clark McGee in the 28 car. Looks like they've got a 5th car coming into the picture and more. Looks like they're all starting to jumble up together behind. That could be something that allows the 2 leaders to pull away even further with these pit cycles coming up. Hopefully they don't mess up the stops on pit road. This could be a 2-car race to the end here at the Monster Mile.
Owen Miles about 3.5 seconds ahead of Dylan Young, and Trey Smith about 4 seconds ahead of 3rd place. That's not to say that one of these guys won't pull strategy. I mean, the window's open now. If you come down, get fresh tires now, you could really jump the field. And I wouldn't be surprised if someone tried to pull that strategy quite yet. Of course, everyone's still staying out there. A battle for 4th. John Andrews at the inside of Dale Salzman for the 4th position, and he's going to get that run on the inside of the number 12 machine. Clark McKee right there also going to get a run off of turn number 2, and same with Parker Smith. And when the tires wear out, you do not want to get stuck on that outside lane. It seems to be worse when the tires are worn than it is when we got fresh tires here at Dover.
Shockingly, a really clean race so far, but man, this has been fun to watch. The 52 chase down the 66 of Smith, and all these guys trying to fight for a position behind, but they are falling back. Look at the gap from 1st to 3rd now, 4.57 seconds that last time by. They've got to find a way to get back up to the front and battle for this
Part
win.
of me is feeling like Dylan Young's holding these guys up a little bit. That 48's running just a little bit slow, and he is losing a ton of ground right now. I mean, he is even going really slow through the corners. But Trey Smith and Owen Miles, they don't have anyone around them, so they're able to just pull away from the rest of the field. But this is definitely impressive out of these top 2 drivers. Of course, Trey Smith, he won the first race of the season, but since then kind of fell off a little bit, is now midway through the points. And we mentioned Owen Miles, last in the points coming into this race. Definitely would love to get a race victory here at Dover, but now you're definitely going to see the grip come into factor, and Trey Smith just hit the outside wall. These guys are having such a hard time getting through the corners. They are slowing down tremendously trying to handle the tire wear, and it's almost like a caution is out as they're going through the corners here at Dover.
If I were these leaders, I would come to the pit road soon. Wouldn't want to lose too much time from the big lead they have, almost 5 seconds over 3rd place.
No one has come down yet, but they are considerably slower than they were earlier on, and I'd imagine these guys are going to be hitting the pit lane here soon, and here they go. Owen Miles is going to want to stay right with Trey Smith here. He does not want to lose any ground off the 66, and he gained quite a bit there as the 66 hit the outside wall. John Ander's going to stay out, but, I mean, you're going to go to the back of the field if you stay out now, because the tire wear is so significant. These guys are probably running about 3 seconds slower than they were earlier on. So, now the battle really is between the 66 of Trey Smith and the 52 of Owen Miles, are the first guys to come down the pit lane. Don't believe anyone else came down before them. So with that in mind, we're going to follow with these guys. See who wins the race off the pit lane between the 66 and the 52.
I am honestly surprised Moore did not come into the pit road that time by, but he did see the 48 Dylan Young come in. He was 3rd place, but he does not get going like
you got to think, too. He was about
Smith
4 seconds behind those guys when they came in, so...
Owen Miles.
But Owen Miles got right to the back bumper of Trey Smith, and we got ourselves a battle for the race win here at Dover. Going to be 12 laps to go for these guys next time by, I should say. The rest of the field has come down the pit lane, and Williamson is sideways on his pit stall. That's going to send him to the back of the field for American Motorsports.
My goodness.
That's what you get when you try to commentate and drive at the same time.
That's called multitasking, man. That's multitasking.
Our race leaders here, merging in the lap traffic. They're going to lap Bobo Jones. They already lapped Zachary DeLello in the 80. And this is going to work in the favor of Trey Smith. Owen Miles getting stuck behind the 73 here. And Trey Smith's going to look to get around Zach Rogers as well. Smith might have the advantage in this one here, but we're going to have to see what Miles can do around the lap traffic. Zach Rogers will move out of the way, but Bobo Jones still in the way of Owen Miles and Trey Smith for this top position.
If Owen Miles wants to have any chance for the win here, he needs to get past those lap cars and hope that the 66 gets caught up in some more.
It's almost like the 73 and the 52 are drafting. It's almost like they're drafting up to the 66 as you see the 73 closing in, and maybe it's a little bit of an advantage too because the 66 does have another car in front of him that could slow him up. The 64, Chloe Rainier, going through turn 1 and 2, so that could become a factor if the 52 does indeed close in on Smith and battle for this win, coming to 8 laps to go this time.
Oh, Trey Smith going way up the racetrack there. That's another thing we were talking about at the top of the show. And we saw him before the cycle began, and he hit the outside wall, so he's been a little bit loose through the corner there, or actually a little bit tight, I should say, and he continues to walk it up the racetrack. If Bobo Jones gets to the inside, Owen Miles is going to be there for that race lead, and Bobo Jones is right to the back bumper of the 66 machine. And there he goes to the inside. Smith way up the racetrack. He's tight again off the corner. Here comes Owen Miles in the 52, looking to take the race lead away from Trey Smith.
Watch the low line. Here comes the 52 underneath the 66 of Smith. They are going to be side by side off turn 2.
Not quite. Smith able to work the outside lane. And he might get back to the inside of Bobo Jones here. But this is going to be a tight one for the race win. Owen Miles is right there on the 66. This is the closest he has been all race long. But now he goes wide through the corner. And Zach Rogers going to get to the inside of him. Not quite. Miles stays ahead of the 93. And Trey Smith will get back around Bobo Jones. Owen Miles will also get around the 73. And that's going to open up this battle for the race win between Smith and Miles with no lap traffic in play. Here we go. 5 laps to go in the Wawa 200 at Dover.
Watch for him to slip up again and through turns 1 and 2. Not as much as he did but through turns 3 and 4 this last time around. Let's watch turn 3 and 4, see what happens.
When Miles going wide.
A little high.
He went way wide through the corner there. Just got a little too tight. It's a very tight racetrack, and if you make one mistake, that's what's going to happen. That's what I meant about hitting your marks. If you get in the gases a little too early, up the racetrack you'll go, and Owen Miles made that fatal mistake right there. It's going to be 3 laps to go next time by for Trey Smith, looking to win his 2nd race of the season. Owen Miles still has a shot at this one, though. Looks like he gained a little bit there through 3 and 4. 3 laps to go for Trey Smith and North State Racing.
Trey Smith getting a little more pressure from the 52.
to see if he gets a run on the outside lane here. Bobo Jones also could play a factor. He might get around the 52 if he wants to. But Miles is starting to close back in on Trey Smith. We'll have to see if he can get to his back bumper on the final lap. 2 laps to go here at Dover in the Wawa 200 in the Turkey Hill Series. Trey Smith trying to hold on. He's going to go a little tight there through the corner, and Owen Miles on the inside. He's got to make sure Bobo Jones doesn't get to the inside of him, though. White flag in the air for Trey Smith. As they come across the line, it's going to be 1 lap to go. Owen Miles a little wide off the corner, but he will clear the 73. It's about 0.4 of a second between Miles and Smith, and I just don't think it's going to be enough for the 52 to have a shot. We're going to have to see how it all goes down on this final lap.
Enough of a gap between the 66-52. All Smith has to do is stay on the bottom, and he is going to do that through turns 3 and 4.
Trey Smith, 66, North State Racing. They're going to get their second win of the year here at Dover. But Owen Miles, a great run nonetheless, finishing second. And Dylan Young finishing in third, or should I say in fourth, as Clark McKee got around him for the third position. Parker Smith rounds out the top 5. Number 66 of Trey Smith able to hold on there for the race win. He was able to hold off the 52 and get it done here at the Dover International Raceway. And Trey Smith, your race winner here from the Monster Mile. If you take a look at the rest of the results right there, and a few guys finishing a lap down, it's just simply because they were back in the field. They came down the pit lane, and the leaders were just faster than they were, so no issues out of Bobo Jones to Jacob Hammond. The only guy who did have an issue was Josh Williamson, who got sent around his pit stall somehow. But a very interesting race there, and going to be interesting to see how tomorrow's race plays out in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series. How do you think tomorrow's race will play out, considering what we saw here today?
Well, it was a dominant performance from the 66 car of Trey Smith and Owen Miles. They were the 2 most dominant cars all day. There's a big gap between them and third place the whole day. So we'll see if that happens tomorrow, the Chick-fil-A Cup Series race.
I have a feeling, like the Turkey Hill race we saw today, in the Chick-fil-A race, we are going to see guys predominantly stay on the bottom line. But I do not think that there will be as much of a gap between second and third as there was in this race. Maybe a little closer. We'll have to see how it plays out. This track is really unpredictable.
It definitely is, and, you know, this place usually goes caution-free, but sometimes we get a wreck to happen, and we could have easily had one. A couple guys, even our race winner, Trey Smith, hit the outside wall at one point in this race, so very possible that could happen tomorrow as well. But either way, thank you guys so much for watching. Here are the point standings for the Turkey Hill Series after 11 races, and on behalf of Daniel McMillan and Josh Williamson, we thank you so much for joining us tomorrow at noon Eastern Time on Navafan. That's the Mr. Goodbar 400 right here from Dover in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series. Congratulations to Trey Smith, and I will see you guys later.